Good morning and welcome to a brand new program here on News Talk 1290. It is Strategic Moves with Lou, and we're here to talk about real estate and all the things that go along with it. And believe me, when I tell you, there's a lot of moving parts and pieces that everybody needs to know about, especially if you're in the market to buy a new home, or even if you're in the market to sell your home, or if whatever it is you're trying to do. There's a lot to learn about this. And the star of this show is Lou Italis. She is the broker at Strategic Realty here in Wichita Falls, Texas. How was that for a setup?
That's good.
Well, I want to start, since this is the very first broadcast we're doing, I want to start by you introducing yourself. Tell people about, of course, they know your name now, but tell them a little bit about you and your background, how you got into real estate, and your relationship with Strategic, how that kind of evolved, and how you got to where you are now.
It's not a terribly long story.
Well, that's okay. It's not a terribly long show, so we don't want to go too long with it. But.
Yeah. I came here from Okinawa. We were stationed there for 4 years. I was starting over with life, as those things occur. And I decided that I wanted to sell real estate. I always wanted to sell real estate.
Yeah.
In general. So coming here and having the opportunity to go to school, it just kind of worked out that way. So I got my real estate license in 2010. Being a single mom, I had other jobs too. So I was a real estate agent. I was also a property manager over on base with Balfour Beatty for a while, for about 5 years.
Yeah.
And I was also going to school. So I was getting my bachelor's degree in business management. And then once I graduated, I started to do a little bit more in real estate than in everything else. And I just loved it. I mean, it was everything that I thought it was going to be and more. I worked for R&D Real Estate Agency, which was Coldwell Banker before it was R&D. And he was my broker. Alan King was my broker for those 5 years. And he was also the teacher that taught us the class when they were actually doing in-class sessions over at Vernon.
So that's where you took your real estate courses.
Yes, the majority
Vernon
of my
College.
Yes. I did it the old school way. Not many people do that anymore. Everything's online. So, I actually got to sit in front of a teacher and ask questions, and he would always tell us all kinds of really wacky stories. And it's just one of those. He's one of those brokers that has been around and done everything, and I just love that. So I started working with him, and then I just never went away.
Well, now you're the broker.
Now I'm the broker. Yes, I decided that I was going to get my broker's license about 5 years ago.
Yeah,
and
you have to spend a few years as an agent, and
you're required
book so many
to spend,
sales, and
you're required to spend at least 4 years in real estate as a real estate agent under a broker, and you have to take a lot more classes. I had my bachelor's degree by that point, so I only had to take a few classes because they do honor your bachelor's degree. So if you do have a bachelor's degree, that it is going to give you a leg up in becoming a broker. And then I started doing, real estate is one of those things where you have to find your niche. You have to find that one thing that you're really good at or that you really enjoy. And for me, I tried a little bit of everything. I did real estate. I was a listing agent. I was a buyer's agent. I was also doing short sales. I was doing foreclosures. And then eventually foreclosures was the one that I really liked doing. So I kind of expanded my business geared towards foreclosures. And then when I got my broker's license, I opened up SL Real Estate. It was called Saucy Louise Real Estate because it was just me.
I gotcha.
But that only translates to me because that was my handle, my name. But eventually I changed it to SL Real Estate when I had other agents that wanted to join me because it's kind of hard to answer the phone and say, hey, Saucy Louise Real Estate, can I help you? So it made them a little bit uncomfortable. So we just hyphenated it. We shortened it to SL Real Estate.
Yeah.
And
good move.
Yeah. About 2 years ago, I decided that I wanted to expand the business even more. And I bought Strategic Realty from John Causey because he was retiring. And then it just went from there. So now I have a bunch of agents that are fantastic agents, and they love the industry as well, just as much as I do. So we all try to work really, really hard for our clients. And, our motto is to be their hero.
Full disclosure here before we go any further. I want to make sure that because I don't want anybody to get back and say,
disclosures.
Hey, what's up, Rick? I also am a licensed real estate agent.
And you work for me.
And I work for Lou. So that just so everybody knows, that's, you know,
Yeah.
we kind of cook this thing up together.
Little correction there. I work for him.
Well, okay.
I'm the broker. My job is to work for you to make sure that you have all the tools that you need in order to succeed. So that's the role of a broker, is to give you guys that kind of support.
And she's doing a heck of a job so far.
I try. I started doing a lot of repos. I became the real estate agent for Fannie Mae. Fannie Mae is a little bit different. They actually assign one agent per so many counties. And I'm actually the real estate agent for Fannie Mae for the top 13 counties of Texas.
Yeah. And that's one of the topics we'll get into on this show eventually. We'll talk about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac and you know, FHA and VA, all these different things. There's so many aspects to this.
Right. And that's the thing that that's one of the reasons why I believe that we need to do this kind of podcast, or we need to do this kind of radio show, because there's so much information out there. There's so many people that don't know what to do, how to get started, or even if they should get started.
Right.
You know, I mean, so that's one of the things that prompted me to start this radio show. I think a lot of people want to know that information. Yeah. And who else is going to tell them? Real estate agents, we're the experts. So we're the ones that need to provide that information.
Right.
And I'm here to do that.
Terrific.
And we'll bring some guests on the show from time to time, and we'll talk to them about what their experiences are and anything that they've learned in the industry.
Well, as a matter of fact, we've got two guests in the studio with us right now. So introduce our guests and let's let them talk a little bit about themselves for a moment.
Exactly. We have Tamara Kluver. She is a 2-year veteran in real estate. She got her license a couple of years ago. Well, I'll let you talk, Tamara. She's one of my agents as well. She works for Strategic Realty.
Yes. Hi. I've been licensed for 2 years. Well, almost 2 years. It'll be 2 years in May. I love real estate. I've been around the block in real estate for many, many years, working at different real estate agents. I started out at Hershey under Danny Steed just as a receptionist, then moved over to the Bishops, and then landed with Strategic Realty on Caulfield under John and Debbie Causey.
And suddenly she was home.
Yes. Yes. I loved real estate. I wanted to get into it. I started taking some courses with a great real estate teacher.
Service, yeah. Was it online?
Under Nelson Tubbs here in town.
Oh, okay. Yeah, over at Century 21.
Yeah. And then the market crashed. So I was a little afraid of getting into it and, you know, putting the effort and the money into getting my license. I was just scared.
Yeah, that happens very much. I mean, I was scared for 5 years too.
Yeah.
You just don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. There's no certainty in any business. So, but one thing that I can say about real estate is that everybody needs a place to live.
Land has never been worth zero. It's always had some value to somebody somewhere, and it always will. And they ain't making any more of it either.
Yeah.
What we got is what we got.
Yeah. There's no more coming.
Who else do we have in the studio with us here?
And we also have Tatum McDaniel.
McDaniel.
No ass. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. Before I got married, I said the same thing, so I can't say anything about that. Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh, there's not an S at the end? No.
How long were you engaged?
Oh gosh, 5 years.
Engaged for 5 years?
Yeah.
They got the name wrong.
Oh, my
goodness.
Yes.
Well, so. I understand the whole last name butchering. Mine is like the most intense. Yeah.
Yes.
And my first name is even worse. So if you think about it, my first name is actually Luz de Amor.
Oh, okay.
That's my first name.
You're right.
So it's Luz de Amor Italis. So everybody looks at that and they're like, me. That's me.
You ought to try having the last name Hendren. It gets spelled 18 different ways before anybody ever gets it right. Even when I spell it out
everybody has
for
problems with their name. It's so funny.
Oh, my
So no S. But yes,
no S. Okay.
But first off, thank you for having me here. I love what you guys are doing, and I think this is going to be great.
Absolutely.
Great information, and I feel like a lot of people are going to be seeking this information. So first off, thank you. So yes, my name is Tatum McDaniel, no S. And I work for Jacksboro National Bank Mortgage Division here in Wichita Falls. So a lot of people think, oh my gosh, you drive to Jacksboro every single day. Nope. We have a floor dedicated in the Chase building next to Target, which is really dangerous being that close to Target. I can see it out my window. I'll be right back.
Shopaholic.
I'll be right back. we are here, local in Wichita Falls, but we have
And they do every kind of loan imaginable.
yes, mortgage wise,
Mortgage,
Wichita Falls.
yes,
Yes, we do
yes.
have a commercial loan officer in our office as well, but mainly we are just
Dedicated to real estate.
Yep, that's what we do. Everybody that you talk to, that's associated with your loan, we're right here, all in the same office.
That's the best thing to have. I mean, I know that there's a lot of clients that will want to go to their local bank, which is like Chase or Wells Fargo or B of A. Well, B of A is not even here anymore, but
Right.
you know, they want to go to the big name banks to go get their loan process,
Or
and,
even those online lenders that, you know.
oh yes, online lenders are worst
Quicken
nightmare.
loans.
Don't do it.
I didn't do it. You did.
Yeah. Well, no. Don't go online and do that.
And why?
And
like,
why-
I
yeah.
think that's why. Like, a lot of people don't understand. They think they're going with that bigger company thinking, I'm going to get a better rate because they do all these loans
Correct.
and all this.
Yeah.
But if I tell everybody, they think I'm just being like
You're
single.
selling. You're
Yeah,
selling
exactly.
your
I'm selling
company.
me. So, as a realtor, can you explain kind of why not to go that direction?
The reason why I counsel all of my clients to go local. I mean, for the obvious fact, you're supporting your local merchants and you're supporting your local industry, but you get hands-on, experienced lenders. You get a processor that's right here in Wichita Falls, not one that's in San Antonio or, God forbid, California or, worst comes to worst, India.
What?
Some of them will be in all the way in India. They'll be, it's crazy. So, get somebody that's here in town that you can, if you have a problem, you can call them on the phone or you can go to their office and you can see them face to face.
And that's
so you
the
have a
big
lot
thing.
more control.
There's a lot to be said about being able to get face to face with the person you're doing business with.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Because the COVID, we're actually trying to limit that on us.
Well, yeah.
But
yeah.
guess what?
It's not going to last forever.
Most of my borrowers have my cell phone.
Right. But being able to deal with somebody local that
With the
you
new
can-
day and age, I mean, we do have to be
just-
conscious of the COVID
Yes.
regulations, and some of the banks don't open their floors unless you have an appointment. But you at least can get in touch with them via phone.
Right.
Or I can do FaceTime. I mean, I can do a lot of different
FaceTime,
things.
yeah.
I mean, we can.
There's so many ways that we can do
Really,
it. But
yes.
and
we tailor it to them. We
Yeah.
do have some of the older folks that, they're not savvy. They're not tech savvy with DocuSign, or they don't feel comfortable with it. Maybe they know
Or
how
they
to
don't-
work it, but
they don't have an email
feel-
address.
Yeah,
I have had
exactly.
clients that don't
Yes.
have email addresses, which
Right.
is totally bizarre, but it happens.
And at that point, there's an exception to be made. But you're 30-something years old, and we all do everything online. We're going to ask, hey, can we do that part online? I will talk to you all day long on the phone.
Your guys' application process is online, though,
Yes,
right?
or we could do it over the phone too.
right, you can do it over the phone,
Yeah.
or you have the application that you do in order to get your loan would be online. All right,
Correct.
so let's go back to the basics. I wanted to start today with just talking about what's the first step. If you're interested in buying a property, you're tired of renting and you aren't sure what you need to do, what is the first step for you to do?
Call your realtor.
That's a shameless plug right there, but yeah, you call and you call a realtor, whether it's Strategic Realty or any other real estate agent in town, whoever will answer your call. Because that is a big problem sometimes, is getting somebody that'll actually answer your phone call. Call a realtor, because they are the experts. They will, even if they can't help you and you move to another real estate agent or whatever the case may be, they're going to be your first point of contact rather than getting on Zillow
or realtor.com.
or realtor. Yeah. I mean, realtor.com and Zillow, those are tools that we use or that we provide to our customers so that they can see the houses, but it's not a first step. It shouldn't be a first step, because there's so many things that you can get discouraged about real estate if you don't talk to a realtor. I mean, we're online shoppers. We shop, like we were talking about going to Market Street and seeing all that food in front of us. Well, I mean, our eyes are usually bigger than our stomachs. So if we get online and we start looking at houses and we're seeing, oh my gosh, this is a beautiful home and it's $230,000, and then I go to a lender to go get a loan and they say, oh, you're only qualified for 120. Now what happens to the customer?
Yeah, they've lost interest, or they get discouraged and they continue to rent.
We call that unnecessary heartache.
Yes, yeah. So
On so many levels.
definitely call your realtor first so they can point you in the right direction to go to that lender, or to help you seek.
And we do triage. Basically, whenever we get a customer, call us. We triage their situation. Each person has a different situation. We as realtors, we know which questions to ask, and we'll triage what the issues are so that we know where to send you, what you're going to be successful at, and make a game plan for you. I mean, we're here to help. We're here to help you buy a house. I mean, that's our primary goal, is to be able to help you buy a house.
Well, you got some buyers out here that, a conventional loan may be just fine for them. Great credit, all that good stuff. Conventional loan should be a no-brainer for them. And then there are others where FHA may make more sense for them than trying to go conventional. You have different cases, different circumstances.
So Tatum, give us a rundown of the different kinds of loans, because a lot of our customers don't know what kinds of loans there are available to them as first-time home buyers. Or
you bet. Yeah. No, there's an array of all sorts of different types of loans, and really we try not to explain all the types of loans up front, but that's because first we look at their file and say, okay, let's look at these things and let's figure out what they are qualified for and eliminate what they aren't qualified for, because then that leaves us with what we can do. Because why explain to them what you can't do?
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
that's the same thing as
discouraging them. So what we do is we get that information and then we tell them what we can do for them. But in the most part, we have a conventional loan that is a minimum 5% down, 620 credit score. 5% down is based off the sales price. So I always like to use round numbers. For a $100,000 home, it would be a $5,000 down payment.
That's how much you would need to save in order to be able to get this loan.
But keep in mind that can be gifted to them from a family member, relative, somebody that's considered a family member, which there's a lot of paperwork, of course, that comes along with that. But we take care of that for you. So just because you don't have that money or that cash, that's okay. Still apply. Let's look at that. Let me ask those questions.
And we can get more in depth on this too in future episodes. But there are a lot of down payment assistance programs out there for middle to low income buyers.
Yes. Right. So the next one would be the FHA, and that one requires a 3.5% down payment. So again, $100,000 home, $3,500 would be their down payments.
There's so much that can change so often.
It changes on a regular basis.
Quickly.
Yes. And that's why contacting your real estate agent will keep you in the know. Yeah. Because we have to be aware of all of those changes as well. Maybe not as in depth as a loan officer, because you're going to be the one that knows what your investors, your credit scores. But I know who to call.
Exactly.
I know, I can call Tatum and say, hey, what's your guys' credit score limit right now? Do you have any investors that are willing to do 580 or 610? Usually it's between 580 and 620 for the FHA.
Yes. Yep. Yeah. And before that's what it was. So,
and for FHA, just for consumers to know, they don't have to be first-time buyers.
Correct.
Exactly.
You can still buy
You can go from an FHA loan to another FHA loan. So say you have a home now. It was your first-time home buyers. You were a first-time home buyers at the time when you got that first FHA loan, and now you're looking to get a bigger house. Or, your family has grown and now you need a bigger home. Yeah.
You are required, though, to sell the first one.
Correct. You have to close
on the first FHA.
Before
a lot of buyers are they don't know under the impression that you
can't ever use it again.
Because first-time home buyers.
Right. Correct.
The word first kind of throws everybody off.
And so, and then also the city of Wichita Falls has a program,
down payment assistance.
Yep. And closing cost. And if it covers enough for their down payment and for any closing costs that they have to.
They can apply it to anything. Yeah.
They can apply it to the principal.
Yep. And the city usually has that program every single year. They just have a budget. So as long as they have the money, you can get the assistance. And then eventually it does run out. So for the year at least,
and you
until the next cycle comes around.
Exactly. And then if anybody is interested in that, you can go online, just Google City of Wichita Falls First-Time Home Buyers Program.
Mm-hmm.
Click on the first link and go to that brochure.
Mm-hmm. And that'll give you that. It basically is broken down based on income. So if you have 3 family members, then there's a number there. And I don't even want to say it because I don't know what it is.
Well, they just changed it again. It's not online. That's uploaded online of their new one.
Oh, okay.
So it's not
it's the
but
old one,
it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So
For
keep
those
in
listeners listening to the show online, you could be almost anywhere in the country listening to this show right now. There's a good chance that whatever city you live in, they have a similar program in place.
This is federal. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's by state. Every municipality is going to have their own down payment assistance programs. And it's, like I said, it's based on income and it's based on dependents.
Yep. Right. How many people live in the house?
And it's also based on the price of the house.
Yes.
There's a cutoff. I think it's $98,000. Yeah. Okay. So if you're buying a house for less than $98,000 and you fall under the criteria for the credit, you have to have the credit score, and you also have to have the low income. If you fall into any of those 3 categories or all of those 3 categories, then you can apply for the assistance program, and that gives you up to, I think it's $6,500.
Mm-hmm. Some of them 65 or 75. It kind of
changes. Okay,
yeah,
it depends
on the
situation.
actual person,
yes.
the situation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you come and apply for an FHA loan with me, and I see that you don't have the funds for the down payment, I'm going to suggest the city program if it's within the city of Wichita Falls.
Yes, it has to be within the city of Wichita Falls. It can't be in Burke Burnett, Isle Park, or any of the.
But I'll get to those
county.
in a second.
There's other
a
county
good
ones. Yes.
program for that one. So
what is it?
The USDA.
Oh, USDA.
Yes.
Yeah, we got USDA, and then we also have T-Shack.
We don't do those at Jacksboro, but yes, we do the USDA.
Isn't there another one that's called like Seth or something?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there's so many different programs that can assist you in buying a house. So if you're thinking, I don't have the money, I haven't saved up $5,000 in order to buy a house, you're a phone call away from a yes. You know, whether it's calling a lender directly or calling your local real estate agent, the worst that they can tell you is yes, you're qualified. And then now you have to buy a house.
That's right.
Bottom line is there's an answer out there for almost anybody,
right?
In almost any situation. I mean, you got to go a long way down before you get. No, there's no way on earth we can possibly.
And then we can talk about that too at some point. Is there's no way that you can get a loan if you don't have. Well, there is ways that you can get a loan if you do not have any credit. If you're 21 years old and you've never owned a car, you've never had a credit card, and you just have no credit, like it's never been established. You never established credit. You can still possibly get a loan because you might, if you have a cosigner. So that's still a possibility. It's a little bit harder at that point, but it's still, you can find lenders that will do home loans that allow for a cosigner.
And I would suspect, Lou, and you tell me if I'm right or I'm wrong, that's probably becoming more of a rarity of a problem.
Oh, yeah. It doesn't happen very often. So, but for those, those young kids that my kids, my son, my daughter, I help them establish credit really early on. But some just don't, they just don't know. And if it doesn't necessarily mean that you cannot buy a house. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're never going to buy a house or never could buy a house. You just need to call a real estate agent, and they can, like I said, triage your situation, find out what you can do at this point in time, which may mean going and getting a credit card, whether it's a prepaid credit card, giving you ideas about how you can get to the point where, yes, you can buy a house.
Right. Well, in the few minutes that we've got left, I don't quite know how we want to wrap this up today, because we've covered a lot of stuff here in general.
Yeah.
But clearly, in future shows, we're going to be able to go a lot deeper on any one of these topics.
Yeah.
And it's
we need
a lot to
it'll
absorb.
help everybody stay current too, because like she said, the lenders are always going to have something different pop up. They'll have another investor that comes in, and all of a sudden now we're able to do a lot more intense loans. Do you guys do VA loans as well?
We
correct?
do. Yep.
Yay.
Yep. So on top of the USDA,
yes,
which is outside of the city of Wichita Falls in certain
counties,
areas, that's a zero down payment. Just FYI, credit
Zero
score
down
as of right now is 620. But there are some things that come along with that. They can't exceed a certain threshold. on their yearly income, et cetera, et cetera. So I'll throw that part in there. But yes, we do VA loans as well.
And those are usually the best because they don't have they don't have any mortgage insurance.
There is a funding fee, but
There's a funding fee, but
yep,
there's no mortgage insurance.
you got it.
There's no down payment.
Mm-hmm.
And you can.
And if you're disabled, if you have any part of disability, like you receive any penny, you are, you don't pay the funding fee. You're exempt.
You're exempt from
That's
the
word I was
funding
looking
fee.
for.
Yes, they
exempt from that
waive
funding
it.
fee.
They
Yeah.
waive it.
Yes. So if you are eligible for a VA loan, definitely look into that one.
Right.
Always.
That one's always the best.
Mm-hmm.
There is always a possibility that you can buy a home with zero at closing. I think the one that, besides getting their money back from earnest money, I actually had one that had to bring in like $5.96.
I love it
and
when
she
it-
just went into her purse and got all her change.
I know
out.
there was one that was a penny or something, and I said, "Oh my gosh, do they really have to write a check for this or get a cashier's?" And they were like, "No, just
bring a
in."
penny.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Okay, thank you." So those are fun.
These
That's
are fun
cool.
stories.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
these
I
are
just bought a
fun
house
stories.
with a penny down.
Yeah.
So
we're
that's
just
cool.
we're just going to put it in the slushy fund anyway. That's
So
Yeah.
if you want to know how to buy a house for a penny, talk to Tatum. Here's our play on words.
Yes.
You know, we have the strategies to make sure that you get the home that you are in love with and that you don't have to bring
Tons of
money to the table.
Yes, you don't have to bring a kidney and your firstborn to the closing and hand
Yes.
them over.
A
It's,
lot
Yes.
of people think they have to bring 20% down. Do you
Yes.
guys hear that from
Yes,
Oh,
I
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
Not the
And I
case.
mean, it's just a matter of letting us play with the numbers. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just a numbers game.
Yeah.
So-
And the first conventional loan I ever did, I mean, they insisted you got to bring us 20%. You got to bring it to it. That was a
have
long time
changed.
ago.
Yeah.
Times have changed, and that's the thing. That's what I mean.
Well, when he bought
Every-
houses, the interest rate was like 14%.
Yeah, well, it was like that. Like,
Sorry, we're
here,
ageist
let me just
here.
buy this house on my Visa card. I mean, come on. But it does. It just evolves and changes so often now. And
Mm-hmm.
and now, especially here in the 21st century, things just seem to be changing at such a rapid fire pace.
Well, just
You're-
in the last 2
yeah.
years, our world has completely gone topsy-turvy.
Yeah. So
So,
the best way to stay
it
on
can
top
happen.
of it, pick up the phone and call Strategic Realty and or the realtor of your choice, and get some answers and
Get
start
the 411.
That's where you start the process.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to get the process started, and know that you're getting solid information, good advice, and getting on the right path right off the get-go.
And we just talked about buyers in this episode,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of things that we, as real estate agents, can help you do to maximize the amount of money that you receive
Right.
whenever you sell your home. There's so many ways that we can help sellers
Right.
save money.
Well, the best way to get in touch with Strategic Realty is what? Who do you call?
You call 940-689-7900.
There you go. And the offices are located on Fairway Boulevard, 4200 Fairway Boulevard.
4200 Fairway Boulevard,
Yeah.
where the old meat market was.
Yeah. Well,
I did not know that.
Yeah.
People ask me that all the time. Oh, is that where the old meat market was? And I'm like, sure. Yeah.
And just so you know, they did clean out the freezer.
Yes. Yes.
They did clean out the freezer. Lou Italis is your host for this show. It's Strategic Moves with Lou. We want to thank our guests, Tamara Kluver and Tatum McDaniel with no S, for being here with us. Thanks very much, and tune in next Saturday for another edition of Strategic Moves with Lou here on News Talk 1290 and newstalk1290.com as well.